Hello, this is Alec Kerr of the Conway Daily Sun,
I'm Amy-Nicole Smullen.
and this is actually take 2 of our review of Fame because we had said so much to talk about it last time, and we talked for too long, so we're going to try to condense it.
I'll try.
Um, okay, the good stuff first. There is some amazing dancing and some really good choreography.
Amazing choreography.
And-
Best thing in the entire
Right,
movie.
and there's some good singing by some of the actors here, even some great singing, and there's some well-performed monologues for the most part, but the acting for the movie as a whole, not so much.
Not at all.
Yeah,
I would definitely say that acting was the downside
Right.
of this movie.
and the script and the directing and
I wouldn't go that far, but
I mean, actually, the directing, it should be said that, like, the dance sequences are really well directed. When it comes to dramatic sequences where there actually has to be some story pushing forward, not so much.
which probably is also hindered by the fact that there's not a lot of story.
Right. And it should be noted that this is a remake of Fame, obviously, and the original Fame was rated R. This is rated PG, which probably shows where their priorities are. I haven't seen the original Fame, but everything I understand about it was pretty. It was kind of a gritty, kind of dirty, grimy kind of, and very much was a reflection of like New York and
Yeah.
New York people. Where this is totally not. This could be set anywhere.
This could have been set in Iowa.
Right. And one of the characters was from Iowa.
Ironically, the not so good
Yeah.
character.
And the problem is that the characters are just they're just so shallow. There's just nothing given to
There's
them.
absolutely no character development.
There are a couple story arcs. There's one story arc that actually works.
Yeah.
And that's Denise, played by Notori Naughton, whose parents are pushing her to be a classical pianist, and she wants to be like an R&B singer. And that actually kind of has a nice arc. You do get to see her grow a little bit. But other characters, like a character played by Kay Pennebaker as Jenny, has no character arc. She starts out coming to the school, this is about a performing arts high school, which is populated by college students apparently, and
Yeah.
and it's supposed to be a very, very difficult school to get into. And somehow, even though she has no talent whatsoever, she somehow gets into this very Ivy League kind of high school, and by the end of it, we see that she does have talent, but there's no point in the movie do we see how she grew into that, how she overcame her insecurities. It's just a waste.
It actually starts out on audition day. The teacher basically tells her from the get-go that she needs to start over again, she needs to relax. She gets in, and the first days of classes, all of her teachers are telling her to loosen up, to do this and that. Then there's a kind of period in the middle of the movie where they drop her completely and she's not in any of the classes.
Right. We get to see her personal life.
Yeah.
But we don't get to see any of her stuff in
Her
the classroom.
whole class goes out on this trip and she's nowhere to be seen.
Right.
But then suddenly graduation day comes and she has a solo and she's
right.
great.
She's great. And it's
Don't
like,
know how it happened.
where did this happen? And it's just, maybe it's a reflection of the actual actress's talent that maybe there was more there and they had to cut.
That would probably be my guess. I was not impressed with her at all.
No. There are some good actors in it, the adults. They're not really given enough screen time, though. Kelsey Grammer, Charles S. Dutton, Megan Mullally, BB Newworth, and they all do their stuff good because they're professionals. They actually went through this process already and came out the other side.
But they're very minor.
Yeah, they are.
So you have little tiny bits of them thrown in.
Right, and there's moments where they kind of give an idea of what it means to act or sing or dance, but for a movie that's about the performing arts, you really have and about going to learn about the performing arts, there's really no attempt to really get at what it means to be a performer.
Yeah. There's also very little moving beyond. You've got all these kids who are acting, and they're not actually playing any characters. They don't, you don't have this girl from a big, fancy, rich family who's suddenly playing a homeless girl on the street. She's playing herself when she stands up on stage and does monologue. songs.
And yeah, which is awkward. And it would make sense if it was just that was a learning exercise where you do that the first time, but then you never see them do anything else. Even their senior year, they're still doing that exercise they were doing their freshman year. It's like, it just doesn't really work. I mean, the things that do work are the singing sometimes and the dancing, but any kind of story doesn't work at all.
No, they definitely dropped the ball on character development. They had all these things where they started with the characters and their families.
Right.
Like especially the one that drove me nuts was this character Malik, who was actually a very good actor.
Right.
He did some rapping.
It
was pretty
Collins
good.
Penny.
Yep. And he was very good, and they started off, and he had all this family stuff going on, and all this stuff going on with his teacher interacting, and then it just stopped.
And there's just a sense that maybe this movie was really cut up a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelsey Grammer is a pretty big actor, and he's barely in the movie, and you'd expect him to be there a little bit more. So, and I think maybe there was a better dynamic between Collins Penny and Charles S. Dutton as his teacher, because you see like them going back and forth a little bit, and it's just like maybe there was some severe editing here.
Maybe. So maybe we can't blame anybody but the editors.
Yeah, and the director, whose last name I can't pronounce, so I'm just going to call him Kevin Tangerine. Sorry. But his background is directing Britney Spears concerts and the
Search for the Next
Pussycat Doll series. So that kind of shows his level of talent, and he's very capable at directing the dancing. But any kind of dramatic sequences, he completely undermines a scene where a teacher is telling a student that he just doesn't have enough talent, and he's intercutting it with a bunch of girls dancing sexy, and it's just like, wait, no, this should not be here right now.
And he did, at the beginning, especially in the audition, one of my favorite scene was when you had one of the characters doing a monologue and one of the other characters doing a singing audition, and it interwove back and forth, and it was done beautifully.
Yeah,
and it gave me so much hope for the rest of the movie.
The audition sequence was really done great, and the movie's broken up into chapters: audition, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And the audition sequence was just so great. I was like, well, because I went in really skeptical, and I was like, well, maybe this will really be great, and then I was right to be skeptical.
I will say, definite shining star. My favorite person in the movie was Asher Book.
Asher Book as
Love
Marco.
The name as Marco. Amazing voice, very unique to him. He does a little bit of piano playing. But his character, there's absolutely no background to his character except that he sang in his father's restaurant.
Right.
He's somebody, he had the singing, the acting talent that he should have been big in this movie.
Right. And instead,
he wasn't.
And he's just the boyfriend character to Jenny, which again she's just nothing.
We won't talk about Jenny.
So really, yeah, it was really Notori Naughton and Asher Book who were really kind of the standouts as performers in this. And Collins Penny. Those and there's a large cast of kids, and those really are the only three that stand out, which is kind of sad.
Yes. I think a big part of it though was the unbelievable of, these kids are 25 years old.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be playing 14, 15-year-olds at the beginning.
Right.
Then you also have that, I was actually happy there wasn't a lot of the cliche things you expect from a musical, but when they were there, they were huge.
Yeah.
Like when the entire cafeteria breaks into song, dance, everybody's singing, playing their instruments, it all goes together.
It's a great scene, but it has no business really being in this movie.
Great scene. But, I was looking at it just going, really? Who brings a cello to lunch with them?
Right. This isn't High School Musical.
Definitely.
And I think that was part of the problem was, they were going for the High School Musical audience. And this is just, it's not that. It shouldn't be that.
It was too mature for High School Musical and too immature for an adult audience.
Right. So it's basically floating in this nebulous land where it's not going to find an audience, I don't think.
Nah.
So I don't know, if you like dancing and you like singing, there's some stuff here worth seeing, so you should probably rent it, but definitely don't see it in theaters.
Right. If you're into musicals, definitely worth seeing at some point. if you don't like musicals and you like movies with a plot and really good acting and dramatic effect, don't bother.
Yeah. And if you have a girlfriend, just don't let her drag you to it. Just really, like, if you're one of those guys that just knows you're going to hate this, you're really, really going to hate it. So just put up a fight.
Enough said.
Do you concur?
I'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. So this is Alec.
And Amy-Nicole.
And keep watching.